Welcome back, friends. So I hope you remember what you went through in the last session. So in the last session we went through the different concepts of basic statistics. So now in this session we are going to go through Excel, that is a means to an end for achieving the different functions that we have learned till now. Now why do we always talk about MS Excel being one of the most powerful tools? Because this is a one-stop solution which allows you to not only handle the data, slice and dice the data, but also provide a proper visualization of the data. In fact, Excel is so powerful that in many organizations there are Excel developed dashboards which is done as a proper toolkit solution for certain models. Another interesting fact about Excel is that it is a drag and drop solution. So even a layman who is not that much into data science can quite easily use this tool for handling the data. It not only provides you with inbuilt solutions and functions, but it also allows a user to write their custom functions. So let's not waste any more time and dig right deep into what are the different functionalities and specialities of Excel. To start off with, the first thing that we must learn about Excel is basically the range. So if you look at the figure that is appearing on the right hand side of your screen, you will see that there is a portion which is named as basically the name and the name box. So whenever you are selecting some cells in an Excel, you can actually provide a name to that cell. By default, Excel basically uses an alphanumeric combination where the rows are numbered in 1, 2, 3, 4 format and the columns are numbered in the ABCD format. So as you can see, in this case the cursor is set at C9, and as a result Excel by default is showing you C9 in the name box. You can most definitely change the name and provide any custom name that you want to give. The box which is immediately to the right of this name box is basically the formula bar. So this is exactly the part where a user can type in the formula, or if a user has typed in the formula in the cell, then that particular formula will be appearing in this formula bar. In case a formula is not written, it is the content or the value content of a cell which will be represented in this address bar. So as you can see, in this case we have basically taken a max of the marks which is obtained by the students, and the range of the selection varies from C3 till C7. Now when we are talking about range, we can remember that ranges can be of two types. It can be symmetric or it can be asymmetric. Symmetric cell range, as the name itself suggests, means that it is basically nothing but a square selection, and it has to be a continuous selection. So basically the number of rows and the number of columns that we are selecting are the same. On the other hand, if we are talking about an asymmetric cell range, then you can select any cell in the overall Excel spreadsheet. A combination of cells can also be discontinuous, and even then we will be calling it as an asymmetric cell range. Moving ahead, what I wanted to talk about is basically tables. As we have already learned, that table is basically the primary storage unit of a structured data, and in this case also any type of range which is hosting a structured data inside Excel is termed as a table. Now what are the unique characteristics of a table? Every table has got a row and column. So basically the rows represent the records of this data. So every row is corresponding to a single line of record of the data. For example, if we are taking a student database, then every row will be representing one information corresponding to a unique student ID. Then what is the representation of the column? The columns are basically used to name or define the different attributes. For example, in case of a student database, it can be age, it can be the marks obtained by the student, it can be even where particularly that student resides. So all these different attributes are put in the columns, and every column in the database is preceded by basically a column header which contains the name, or if needed, the explanation of the attributes as well. Now, once you have the structured data inside Excel in the form of a table, you need to do some operation. Now, as I mentioned, Excel provides you with some already built-in functions. However, as an user, you can also combine a number of functions together and also build custom functions for your analysis purpose. So the first set of functions that we are going to talk about in this case are the text functions. Text functions can be actually broadly divided into a number of parts. The first part is basically the removal of the unwanted characters from the text. So basically any type of non-printable character or any type of spaces inside the text can be quite easily removed from Excel. We do this by using the clean and the trim functions. Now, what if an user tries to find out some sort of pattern from a text? So this basically means that we are trying to say retrieve a particular part of a text by using some substring functions or things like that. So for that purpose, we can use the exact function, which basically checks if two values, or rather two textual values, are identical or not. Using the find function, we can try and find one set of text, or rather a substring, inside a bigger string. Search, in the other hand, basically helps to find the same thing which basically is done by find, just the fact that it is not case sensitive. So the difference between find function and search function is that find function is case sensitive, whereas the search function is not case sensitive. Now, what if we are trying to extract the subtext? Now that we have matched the subtext and we know that a particular text resides within a bigger set of text, what if we want to extract that part? For that, we use a number of functions like left. As the name itself suggests, it basically extracts a part of the text from the left hand side corresponding to the number of characters that you as an user is passing. Similarly, there is a right function which extracts text from the right hand side part of the bigger text with respect to the number of characters that you are providing. Mid helps to extract a text from the middle of a bigger text, and obviously the len, that is the length of the text. Similarly, there are some other data operations on textual data that can be performed in Excel. These are replace. So here we are replacing certain characters within a text. Then substitute. Substitute basically replaces a text with a new set of text. And concatenate, where basically we are putting 2 to 3 texts together inside a single cell. Now, once we have delved into the textual functions, what we can do is that basically try and see one of the data types of Excel. And this is one of the most important data types which is quite easily handled inside Excel as compared to some other tools which are used for data analysis. And this is the date and time value. So in Excel, date and time basically appears in two formats. One is the serial format. In this serial format, a date is basically nothing but a positive integer that represents the number of days between a given date and the 1st of January 1900. That is a default that Excel takes into consideration. And remember, in this case, both the days are inclusive. So for example, as you can see on the screen, a number say 42354 is actually a date that represents 16th of December 2015, because if you calculate this particular date from 1st of January 1900, you can get these many number of days that has passed in between. Another format in which Excel provides the date part is actually in the year, month and the day format, the common format that we use. Now, there are certain functions by using which we can try to slice and dice this date and time sort of data. For example, if you are trying to find a work day after a specified day, then how do we do it? We can basically use the workday or the workday international function depending on if we need the specification of the weekends or we do not need it. Similarly, if we try to find out the number of work days between two dates, then we can use the net workday. Once again, there are two variations. One is the net workday, another is the net workday international. The first one does not give you a demarcation of the weekends. The second one do provide you with a demarcation of the weekends. Also, from a given date, Excel allows you to extract the day, the month and the year. So you can actually take a date which has been provided in the dataset and try and extract what are the specifications within that day quite easily from Excel. Now, another important function which Excel provides as an inbuilt facility only is the conditional formatting. So conditional formatting is basically a visual representation of whether my data is breaching or going above or below any kind of set definition that we are putting inside the data. So if you see the screen on the right hand side, you can see that on the category attribute we have put a conditional formatting where baked goods are marked in yellow, beverages are marked in green, canned fruits are marked in red, and so on and so forth. Once again, if you look at the column which reads as cost trend, you can see that there are certain icons. So these icons basically represent whether my price, or basically the cost in this case, the yellow ones basically represent whether it is in the average range, the ones with the up arrows represent the ones which are over the average, and the ones with the red ones basically represent the ones that are below the average. Similarly, in the makeup column, we are providing actually bar graphs to see what is basically the variation of the different percentages that are coming in the price markup range. So if you see, the one with the markup of 50 is occupying a horizontal bar graph which is occupying almost the whole of the cell as compared to the one with 21%. So conditional formatting provides us a very easy visual representation to see whether our data is actually above or below a certain set of value that we are specifying to Excel. So we will be going further into details about the other functions of Excel as well in the upcoming video. So see you till then.